question.
My name is Frank Ramos. I'm a Fresno. I was gone for 30 years in Washington, D.C. My last position was the Secretary of Defense as a director there. I've seen a lot of empty suits come and go in Washington, and met people. But there's one person that I was very impressed with, and Dr. Segura, who was here at Fresno State, was my specialist in Washington. And I just want to say this from my experience of empty suits, that George Radanovich is somebody that you can have the highest confidence and support as a politician and as a leader. And I've seen this with my own eyes and experienced all the hardships of working in Washington, D.C. So I just want to make a statement to George Radanovich that I support him 100% and can represent this community 100%, whatever he does. Thank you.
No question, right? No answers. Okay, we have one in the back, and then on to Venush after. Okay.
Respectfully, I'm not going to lean towards the swamp, so I'm going to go with my own 2 eyes, my own 2 ears, and go with the straightforward. So respectfully, I disagree. I want to be objective here. I have plenty to say about Measure E. What I would say is check out Prop 98, go learn about it. If you voted for Measure Z, which I did not, at least consider Measure E. Because there's a lot of good stuff going on there. As a Fresno State graduate, I won't ask my question there, but I will ask the farmer's question. I didn't know this. This is to George. You partnered with Pelosi to sell Fresno farmers water to environmental groups. I didn't know that. How will you reverse the devastating effects of the San Joaquin River Settlement Act and protect the farmers' water?
More than 20 years ago, Friat Water District was sued by an environmental group to restore fisheries on the San Joaquin River. I was no part of that. They won in court. And in court, the judge waited 18 years for those guys to work it out as a result of that. They could not come to an agreement. Friat came begging to me for help to be able to sit the two parties down and get a negotiation. I did not want to do it, because I don't want to give water up to fish, and that water belongs to farmers. But Friat came to me because they were panicked and desperate to get out of the court decision. The judge was getting ready to rule adversely. I said I'd help. I didn't partner with Pelosi, it was Feinstein, I don't think it made any difference. But they settled on a negotiation, and I supported Friat to get them out of hot water. That's the only reason I did it. And I did them a favor. And I will not take the blame for taking water away, because Friat lost in court. And if anybody's got a problem with that, call Friat.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
Good answer. Well, I actually talked about a little bit on that issue. The San Joaquin River Settlement is one of the most detrimental pieces of legislation that destroyed a lot of the farming in Fresno County. Fresno County was #1 ag-producing county in the world. It is now #3 because the west side was fallowed, because 250,000 feet of water was redirected for the San Joaquin River salmon. That is exactly what happened. And George wrote the bill and partnered with Dianne Feinstein. You actually are here yourself. And so looking at that, in that same bill, the UCLA actually conducted a study and pushed it out and said if one drought compared to 1991 standards is to happen 1 year, the entire west side would receive 0 allocation. Farmers are now standing with me and supporting me, from the Smith camps, the Recruities, the Bondellis, and a lot of others. And these farmers are supporting me today because we need somebody to fight for farming, not somebody who's going to partner to take away water from this area. I've been doing debates with the Young Democrats, and they've said this: well, your guy wrote the bill. That's why you can't push against it. They've said that on a lot of these environmentalists. And it's these slow degradations and erosions that we've seen. These are not the same individuals that were before. The only one who's fought them in a modern way and won.
The only reason those people are supporting my opponent is because they're in favor of Measure E. The fact of the matter is, Friat was in trouble. When you're in a position of leadership, sometimes you have to do things that aren't pleasant. Sometimes you have to pick the lesser of two evils. I did not want this settlement. Friat voted to endorse the agreement that they came to and asked me to do it. So I'm responding to my constituents on something that I didn't want to do, but had to do because my constituents wanted me to do it, to get them out of hot water, and that's why I did that.
So my opponent is Gavin Newsom and the Democrats and those who are controlling Sacramento, not anybody in this room. That is what I am focused on tackling those individuals. And the individuals supporting me are supporting me because they see that we need a new direction, not because of anything else. There's a whole lot of them that also don't support different things. We have different ideologies, but they support me because it's the right choice and it's a new game plan. It's not doing the same thing. It's not voting from somebody who ran in 1988 first. It's not, because we cannot do the same thing and expect different results. We can't. I think everybody has seen that game plan. And the definition of insanity, at least to me, is voting for the same people and expecting different results.
All right, thank you guys. Next question is from Vanush, and we'll start with Mr. Huntsville.
Okay, well, actually, in answer to kind of Mr. Ramos over here, I do know both gentlemen, I'm very familiar with their background. And I've seen firsthand Mr. Tangipa jump feet first in Sacramento to leave our children alone. A 20,000 group of other groups, nationwide and now in Canada, partnering up with Chino Valley Hills, who is being sued by Attorney General Rob Bonta because of parental rights. They voted in parental rights. How do you propose with your family values to start in the schools? That's where it has to start, because they're throwing out family values, American values, children's values, everything. How do you propose to turn that around?
Well, first of all, I had the honor of serving in Washington for 16 years, but that doesn't make me a founding father. And I appreciate my opponent who talks about solving the pedophile problem in Sacramento, but it was actually by the good work of Senator Shannon Grove. She's the one who did that. And as far as putting out the Creek Fire, that was the CFA, the California Forest Service, and our dedicated firefighters that worked hard to do that. We have to stop the momentum that teachers unions and those that want to pull our kids out of the home and educate them. I support that 100%, and I will fight that. But we're against all odds in Sacramento, and we have to develop a plan. And I will tell you, on reuniting children with their biological with their biological parents, this is a good plan. It's going to take some hammering out, but I want to share it with you and walk through this, because until we do that, we don't have a chance of changing the momentum and the votes in Sacramento and to restore this Republican Party. They need my ideas in the Republican Party, and I guarantee the package that I present will bring Republicans, independents and Democrats back to the party, which will give us the power to stop the unions, teachers unions, from deploying this agenda to take our kids out of the home.
Well, I think looking at it, when it got hard with SB 14, Shannon Grove will tell every single one of you that I played an integral role in that. When it comes to the Creek Fire, the reason why California professional firefighters, the local firefighters here, and everybody, and all of the firefighters are supporting me, because they know the work that I've done when it comes to local forest management and working with John Mount and calling out hypocrisy. And when it comes to fighting for family values, I am the endorsed candidate by the Moms for America because of what I've done to challenge AB 1078, which would have centralized all of the power of our local school districts under the California Department of Education. The families and the family council support me because of this work that I've done to challenge AB 665, which would have changed the penal code on that, where a child would be awarded to the parent who's gender affirming or not. I challenge that as well. AB 957. I have taken on these bills before I even looked for a different office. Before anything. I'm not even running. I wasn't even running for office, and I was fighting, and I was recruiting, and I was getting people involved. Because one of the biggest things that we all see today is we are overwhelmingly losing the next generation. Within 1 year, I turned the Valley Young Republicans into the largest Republican group here in California. We just did a deployment on this last Saturday where they were active, and we had 30 individuals from across the state show up and win. I did that same thing back in 2020 and 2022 to work campaigns here locally, whether it was John Duarte's campaign and different congressional campaigns, because the only way that we get what we want is by winning. And when you have a record of actually partnering with those who are causing our abuse, then we're gonna keep getting the same thing in the degradation of those standards. We've heard it. We've seen that game plan. It's time to try something else. It's time to win, just like I won with Shannon Grove, and she'll tell every single one of you why we got it done. Thank you.
All right, last question, we have Solomon.
Yeah, my question is, California has the biggest homelessness population in the nation. I just wanna know what you guys are doing to face this problem and how people here in Central Valley.
Happy to say it, yes, we've spent 15 billion on the problem. I don't see why we have homeless anymore. Governor Newsom said he'd take care of it, and he spent all that money and nothing happened. I think it's because their unwillingness to get people off the streets, put them into housing, rehabilitate the ones that can be, put them into mental institutions, for those that are permanently disabled, and give hope that for people that can be rehabilitated and brought back into our system. We've become a state that has, allows this open air drug markets in San Francisco and the free use of drugs, and we let this happen because we've become a state that does not respect law and order anymore. And the only way that you can solve this problem is to just grab it, get people off the streets, either get them into mental institutions or into drug rehab, and then get them on their way. And frankly, if government doesn't do it, what we need to do is provide tax credits to private nonprofits that will do it, because government is failing us on this issue.
Well, I think it's actually one of the #1 things that we can do today as a mode of action is to sign the Repeal Prop 47 Act that Lisa Smith-Camp, Anne Marie Schubert, and all the individuals are focused on, highlighting these issues. There is a hunger for it today. We cannot keep spending $20 billion on homelessness. And not only that, we need to audit the system. California has spent the most money on addressing homelessness, and we're one of the only states that has seen an increase when the rest of the nation has seen a 13% decrease. There is a homeless industrial complex. They do not want to solve homelessness because then that ends the funding. If you realize, you look at LA, there's like 23 homeless services. Their executive directors are getting paid over $450,000. I want to pass a bill that actually limits all of these other areas and these nonprofit, and they're called CBOs, community-based organizations, limit their ability to use government funding to pay salaries, because we are paying more people to work homeless than to solve homeless, and we've got to get away from that. And it's exactly, not only that, one of the things that I've worked on is I've recruited Solomon to run against Joaquin Arambula, because we could not let individuals like Joaquin continuously pass bills without a great challenger. That is fighting something different. I should be focused on my own campaign, but the mission matters more. And Solomon is one of these young Republicans, and he is a candidate for Assembly. And when I spoke with him and his hunger to fight back, I said, all right, buckle up. We're running against Joaquin Arambula, and we're challenging the norm. That is doing something different. That is focusing on it. We're fighting. We need fighters. Let's continue to fight.
Mr. Rivera, 2 minutes, closing remarks, and that's all you get, and that's all you get out of it.
I want to make the case that I'm in it for changing and fixing California. I enjoy my life, and I've had the wonders of serving in national office and being your legislature. I don't have a lust for that job again. I'm not getting into this for the only reason other than to fix California, with an agenda that I hope that you'll trust me to bring back and work through with you. But until we come up with a plan, and Republicans will be in a permanent minority until we have a plan that grabs the hearts and minds of independents and Democrats and bring them back to our party. And we do have a plan, bold as it may be and difficult as it can be, to reduce the damaging laws that the liberal progressives have passed, making this the most unlivable state in the entire union. I pledge to you and promise to you that I will work with you to turn this state around and get us out of the insignificant minority. We can't afford to wait to chip away, gaining 1 seat or 2 seats every 2 and 4 years. The party needs to step out with a bold plan that will convince people and say, I want to be with those guys. And that I pledge to do. It took me 30 years of experience to come up with this plan. You can't invent it in a day. And I've got it. So I hope that you'll trust me, send me to Sacramento to work on developing that. I will bring it to you and consult with you every step of the way. And I make that pledge to you. So if I would ask for your vote, send me to Sacramento and let's fix California. Thank you.
Well, I think I've iterated this many times, but we do need a new game plan for California. We need a new fight with 18 assembly members in the assembly. More than half of those are supporting me in this campaign because they need energy, experience, and a fighter to join them. Senator Grove, along with 3 other senators, which is surprisingly almost 50% of the Republican Senate, is supporting me in this campaign because they need help and they need that energy. The work that I've done and the wins that we have gotten. I look at individuals here today that are part of the California Rifle and Pistol Association and the lawsuits that have been filed, that have won when it comes to challenging SB 2, when it comes to challenging these other issues, and when it comes to challenging SB 1160, which is a gun registration that will force you to pay registration on it every year, just like car registration. That is what Sacramento is doing today. I have challenged the New Age Democrats, because they are not your 90s Democrats. They are not. I have experience doing that, being the chair of the Valley Young Republicans and being one of the vice chairs for the state, where I called them out. I called them out when it comes to agricultural policies. And I told them that how come Google gets the keys to the city when they plant 10 trees and have drip irrigation, but farmers are demonized because they plant 1 million trees and invented drip irrigation. It's time to play political judo and dump them on their heads. Flip their policies back on them and actually show them that a new direction for California is exactly what California needs. I've responded to individuals across the aisle with my lived experience growing up in the community that I grew up in and becoming the only successful business owner and have done over $20 million in sales. Pulled my family out of generational poverty and done something different. I have that experience. It's time that we have a new game plan for California. It's time that we vote for new individuals so we can take a new step and fight for our communities. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. We're going to pass it back to Ms. Tanaba. Right?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your dedication.